Here we are at 5414 Spruce View. This has been Nana and Papa's house since 1964, and here in the next couple weeks Papa's fixing to move out to California. So we're going to go inside and see how the packing's going and get ready to move him out to California. Here we are in the dining room, living room. There's a painting that Nana painted. It's been hanging in the living room probably since the beginning of time. And everything is here, in here is pretty well sorted out to sell.
Oh, this isn't priced. Did you want it, or did you?
Darlene wants it.
Oh, okay. Just don't pack it.
There's the old dining room table. Many Thanksgivings and Christmases were spent there. That is Papa's father's dining room chair. That's been in the family a long time. It's going to go out to California. Danielle spent a Christmas on that couch when she broke her collarbone. And this is the neat room. And here is where things get a little more hectic.
Oh.
Charles in there packing away some glasses and some stuff of Nana's.
Oh, okay.
Papa's taking California. And I'm fixing to head outside and do a little work with Papa. So we'll check back in later. We are having a traditional West Texas thunderstorm. Here we are in Papa's backyard. All his plants and all the landscape that he's done. But right now it is just pouring. And this is of course what the yard looks like after the dawn. And there's the little angel right there. There's Lady. And we'll swing on in here. There he is right there, man of the hour. This is where we're trying to get all of our organization going. Hey, Papa. That's the spirit we're looking for. Coming in the back door now. And there's Charlotte making sandwiches for Papa and I. Having a great time. This is the kitchen and the eating area. And back into the living room. And to close out this little section of film, we're going to focus in on that picture right there. Wow, it was good looking. Here we are, just taking another quick look at the back side of the house. Here's the guest bedroom. And it's all pretty well, except for the mess that Charlotte and I have made, sorted out. There's some various items to sell and get ready for the estate sale. And back out into the hallway and over to the guest bathroom. And the hallway was lined with a lot of family photos.
You're gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna paddle your rear end.
This leads back into Papa's room. Into the bathroom. And there's me. And there's all the little pictures of Dad as a little boy. In the final room will be the guest bedroom. And this is where Danielle and I slept growing up, visiting Nana and Papa. And there he is, as a senior in college. We'll see y'all later. This is the house of Man and Pauline Strong. They've lived here, I think, close to 35 or 36 years, out in Morgan's Point, Texas. So we're going to take a tour of the outside of their house real quick, and then the inside. This is number 5 Cox Road. Here's their backyard. That's Polly's painting shop where she does all of her artwork and teaches her lessons. This is going into their enclosed patio. And then we will go on into the house. This is Man and Pauline Strong, and we're at their house out in Morgan's Point, Texas. Man, I want to start with you and just want to know where you were born and some stuff about your family.
Yeah, where you born?
You want to know the post office?
Well, the
Out
town.
in the country, see, little country town.
What town?
Sego, Texas,
Where's that located?
close to Eddie. Eddie's
East.
on I-35.
East of Eddie.
Okay.
That was a post office.
Okay, that was the post office. But you were born out in the country.
Yeah, in Sego.
Sego,
Little
Texas.
bitty town.
Okay. And are you the oldest or youngest of the family?
Youngest,
You're the youngest.
yeah, the baby.
You're the baby. How many older brothers and sisters do you have?
One brother and 3 sisters.
Okay. And was your dad a farmer or
Farmer.
what?
That's all he ever did.
That's all he ever did.
Yeah,
Was it a pretty good sized farm?
yeah,
Do you remember how many acres?
500.
500 acres. And what'd y'all grow?
Cotton and corn and hay.
Cotton, corn, and hay.
Yeah,
So as a boy, you grew up farming.
well, in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did your mom have a separate job, or was she the mom?
She was a school teacher before they married.
Yeah, my mother was a school teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Before your parents married? What
Well,
were
she
your parents?
met him because he was a trustee.
Let me tell you.
What were your parents' names?
John and Alice Strong.
John and Alice Strong.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your brothers and sisters, what were their names?
My brother was named Alvin Strong.
Okay.
And I had 3 sisters, Nell and Flora and Lena.
Nell, Flora, and Lena.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were the baby.
Yeah.
Where did the name Man come from?
Well, when I was born, I was a little, about half grown, I think. And my dad called me his little man-child.
Okay.
And that's how I got started.
Really?
Well, Miss Strong said that Mr. Strong wanted to name him Junior, John Thomas Jr., and she didn't want that, and so therefore they never could agree on a name. So his brothers and sisters always, till they died, nearly called him Man-Child. They still call him Man-Child.
Really?
So when he started to school then, they wanted to know his name, and he said Man. They said,
Well, M-A-N, and I said, no, M-A-W, and I changed it myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he started to school at what, 5?
5.
What? Do you remember the name of the school?
Yeah, 11, Sego School.
Sego School.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I was born,
What year were you born in?
1913.
1913. Okay. Wow. Okay. Polly, tell me about your where were you born?
I was born in La Mesa.
In La Mesa.
Well, out in the country of La Mesa, Texas. That's in West Texas.
West of or near what city?
out close to Lubbock, out in that area.
Okay. Okay. And you were the middle or oldest?
I was the oldest. I was the first baby.
You're the first baby. And your younger brothers and sisters are?
JD, next to me, and then Dennis, and then Joanne.
Okay.
And Mom and Daddy came with me. I was 9 months old, and they came through in a covered wagon when I was 9 months old from Lamesa to Bell County.
Really? Okay. So why did they move down?
Well, all
South.
Daddy's people lived here, and they didn't like West Texas, and so they wanted to come back to Bell County, where all their relatives lived.
Now, what'd your dad do for work?
Well, he farmed. He was a carpenter, and later he retired from the county as a bridge foreman
Okay.
of the county roads.
So you grew up in Bell County?
Yeah.
Out toward the Temple or Belton side or
East of Temple.
east of Temple? Okay. And so did you go to Temple High?
No, I went to Oweenaville.
Oweenaville.
Man went to Temple High School,
Later
but I went to Oweenaville.
Okay. Man, when did you come down to Bell County?
Bell County,
Yes.
When we married, I guess. Because you lived.
yeah, when I lived in Falls County. 1935.
1935. Now, is that, let's talk about the time when y'all met, or how you guys were introduced, Polly?
Well, we went to parties, house parties, played games out in the yard and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I'm 3 years younger than him, so he was dating other girls. He was so matured in looks, maybe in actions, I don't know about that he was going with older girls than him. And later, these girlfriends told me, said, oh, if I'd have known I was older than man, I wouldn't have gone with him. They didn't realize that he wasn't as old as they were. And so I'd always hang around at these parties and at ball games, baseball games, and I just thought he was the best looking guy, and I just fell head over heels, I
Really?
guess.
Yeah, but I changed.
And, and finally, I had a girlfriend a lot older than me, and she was going with no boy that he run around with. And one day at church, one night after church, she said, come and let man take you home when I'm going with Joe. And I said, oh, he's a lot older than me, I better not go. She said, oh yeah, Joe and I'll be in the car, so it'll be all right. So I let man take me home. And so every time he'd come to see me, make a date and come to see me, he'd say, oh, that little old young girl, I'm not going back down there to see her. She's just a kid. But he just kept coming back. And so we went together about 3 or 4 years, I guess,
Really?
before we married.
Is that the way the story went, man?
Yeah.
It is?
Right. That's right.
So you were dating older girls there for a little while?
Yeah, but I wound up with a younger one.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah. And see, he lived in Bell Falls all this time, and we were living in Oweenaville.
4
So-
miles apart.
So he was dating the Oweenaville girls, and so therefore I knew all the girls, going to school with them and everything, except they were older than me. I knew that, but I was more matured than most girls my age. I didn't go with these little young boys like, I liked older men, older boys. And anyway.
Okay, so man, you asked Polly to marry you?
Oh,
I think
well,
she
we
has
planned
to
on
be.
that a long time till he could ever get able to afford it.
Yeah, that's back in the Depression days,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They never did have enough money to get married.
No place to live.
So y'all dated for about 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
and then got married in what year?
35.
Got married in 35. Got married where?
Well, in Tyler, Texas. I went over to stay with Aunt Grace, and he came over there that fall, and he was working over there, And we went to Tyler that day with my aunt, Mama's sister, shopping. And, well, he'd said we'd get married sometime that fall. This is in December. And so Aunt Grace and her friend and I were in the store, and he went across to the courthouse, said he's going over there to use the bathroom, and came back with a marriage license. And so he said, well, do you want to get married over here by a justice of peace, or do you want to go back to Overton and get a preacher marriage? I said, oh, let's get it over with. So we just walked across the street to a justice of peace and got married.
Really? Just that day? December what?
Right then. After 3 or 4 years, you think I was going to wait a few more hours
No
to go
way.
back? No, he might have backed out.
So what day was that? December
18th.
December 18th, 1935. And you got married. And y'all, you first lived as a married couple where?
Well, we stayed there a little longer, and then Mr. Strong could get another farm if man would come back and work it, because Mr. Strong by that time was in bad health and he couldn't farm. So Ms. Strong wrote us a letter and said if we'd come back and man farmed the place, they could get this farm. And so we packed up our clothes and come back. Man farmed that 1 year.
Farmed 1 year.
And didn't make much of a crop, and I said, no, I'm not going to go this route. I said, I'd rather get $10 a month and know every month where I'm getting my money than to go all year and then you don't make it and there you are. So he got a job then working in a store, and we moved out by ourselves.
Okay. So, in between 36 and 40, what was going on? What'd y'all do?
Well, I worked at the store. How long did you keep school?
Well, I kept school teachers 3 years.
Well,
About 5 years. We stayed there about 5 years, I guess, because we lived there in the 2 houses before we moved to the where room where the school teacher. So it was about 5, 6 years.
yeah.
And then I got pregnant and was on the verge of miscarrying, and so the doctor put me to bed. And I stayed a long time because I had friends or mama come and wait on me. I couldn't get up. And finally, that got to be too much of a good thing. So we moved then in the house with mom and daddy down on another ranch in Oweenville. And man went to work in Temple. And I was in bed 6 months before the baby was born. And then I went my full time, but when it was born, they broke its neck. And so after that, then he went to Wichita Falls.
I had a friend up there
In Wichita Falls.
in Wichita Falls.
Okay.
And the service was about to get him. So he wanted to recommend someone that he knew to the company. And I went up there and went to work
What type of work was that?
United Gas Pipeline.
Okay.
It's a utility company.
Okay.
And I went to work for them. And he went on to the service. And then
And you worked there 3 years.
3 years that I was drafted into the service.
Now, Polly, during that 3 years, were you down?
Well, he went up there a month or something like that before I went, before I
Okay.
was able to go.
Okay.
And then I went up there, and that was, well, I went in August, and Pearl Harbor happened in December. And so Shepherd Air Base was built, and they was shipping in boys and everything. And you couldn't get an apartment or house or nothing. And we roomed and boarded a year and a half before we finally, they drafted enough boys that we finally got a duplex and lived there until man was drafted.
So, what year were you drafted?
1941.
41.
No,
No,
43.
43.
You were drafted in 43.
Yeah.
Were you teaching school up in
No.
Wichita Falls?
No, I wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
sleeping. Cause he left on Monday, and a lot of times was gone all week, and there I was rooming in a boarding, and then if after we got the duplex, didn't know anybody. Well, if I knew the girls, they all worked, and
Mhm.
so a lot of times I just jump in the car and come home.
Sure.
Temple to Mama and them, and stayed till Friday, and then run back to Wichita Falls time he got home. He worked a big area, Oklahoma, Texas, all up in there.
You were traveling that whole time.
And so then he was drafted, and then I came home.
So you were drafted in 43
March 43.
into the what service?
Air
Air
Force.
You drafted into the Air Force. Yeah. And so March 43, you were drafted, and you came home. And where'd you do your basic?
Miami Beach, Florida.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah, 'cause he was 31 years old,
About 31 or 2.
and of course, you know, he hadn't exercised like you're going to put you through basic training. And down there in that hot sand, oh, he said he just like to kill him, you know. And we'd made it up when we'd see all these soldiers and their wives coming into Wichita Falls, and they couldn't get a place to live and all. They just having it so rough, and all. Man said, now if I'm ever drafted, you're going home. You're going to stay till I come home. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to follow around after you. Well, after he finished his basic training in Miami Beach, Florida, he wrote me and he said he was shipped to Chicago, to Fort Sheridan, to school. And he said if I didn't come up there, he was going to go crazy, that those young boys was driving him crazy, because they didn't care which way the world turned, as long as they was on top of it. They were 18, 19-year-olds, and here he is 31. And so they restrict them and everything. And he'd written me, though, before he left Miami Beach, that the sun had just, well, said his nose looked like a red turkey snout, and his clothes was too long. Well, I'd seen pictures of old buck privates, sleeves down over their hands and their breeches long, and this little cap down and their ear down. And I was really dreading to see him, because he had painted me such a bad picture of himself.
I feel sorry for him.
And so he had written me right after he got up there, and he said, now I'm going to get you a place in Highwood or Highland Park, but I'll let you know. So he sent a telegram and told me that he would get me a room in a certain one of these towns. Well, Mom and them lived out on this ranch, and it had come a flood. Couldn't even get the car out to the main gravel road. They took me and my suitcases and everything out to the main road in a wagon. And I had let Mr. McDonald, a friend of ours that lived in Temple, take the telegram with the address on it to send him a telegram that I was getting on a train, and I'd be in Chicago at a certain time. And so therefore, I didn't have his address. It was on this telegram, but I didn't keep it. See, I let him have it. And I got on that train in Temple, and I rode that train 3 days and nights. It didn't have a diner on it. I hadn't had nothing to eat, and it was so crowded that you couldn't sleep or nothing. And I worried, where am I going? I don't know whether I'm going to Highland Park or Highwood. And a girl got on that was a school teacher in Oklahoma City, and she sat in the seat with me, and she was a young girl, and she was going to Chicago to visit her brother. And so she just took me in like a mother, because I'd never been in her by myself. Man had always been with me and always bought tickets and steered me around, and here I am on this train, didn't even know where I was going.
Country girl comes back.
And I got to Chicago. Oh, and that Chicago, that black smoke city, looked terrible. And there I'd been 3 days and nights, no food, nothing. And all the old taxi drivers had old beard, and they looked like gangsters. And all these winos sitting along the street. Well, I was going to have to catch a streetcar out to one of these places. And I said, well, I'm afraid to catch a taxi. way they look like gangsters, and all these winos sitting along the street. She said, I'll go with you. And so she said, I'll go with you and help carry your luggage and stay with you till you get on this train. And so, well, it's an old boy got on the train before we got into Chicago, and I asked him, I said, now, where's this Highland Park and where's Highwood? He said, well, Highland Park is first, and then it'll be Highwood. And he said, if I were you, I'd go on to Highwood, and said, if that's not the place, then catch the next train back to Highland Park. So anyway, she went with it, and pigeons, oh, the pigeons just flying around everywhere, all over you and everything. We had to go way upstairs to get to the ticket office to catch this train out to Chicago, and got up there, and it was on one of these elevated rails way up here, no sides or no nothing, and just, and I got on there, and I went on to Highwood, and I went up to the ticket office, and I said, do you know where a U.S. Army USO is? A Salvation Army USO? And he said, no. He said, now there's a Catholic USO right down the street here. And I said, no, I'm almost positive it wasn't Catholic USO. I said, I believe it was Salvation Army. He said, wait a minute. He said, there's a building down here on the main street that I see a lot of soldiers going in. Said, now that might be a USO. And so I went trudging down there carrying all these suitcases and everything. And I walked in and told them who I was. And they said, yeah, you've got a bedroom. And told me, and I had to go across all these railroad tracks way down in residential section walking. And I got there, and there this little, rung the doorbell, and there this little 5x5 Italian lady came to the door. I told her who I was, and she said, yeah, and took me through the house to a bedroom not as big as my bathroom. And, well, I just fell down across the bed crying.
That girl come down.
And I'm dreading for man to come in that evening, because he's going to look so bad, no? So he came in, but he'd gotten his uniforms altered. They looked nice and everything, and he'd borrowed somebody's real cap like Mike Arthur, you know. Man, and he'd lost weight, and he's just standing there. Well, and I just busted out crying. He said, what in the world's the matter? Anyway, he said, this is a country girl come to town. I said, that's right, and I shouldn't have never left Bell County.
So
I was up there 3 months before then he shipped out to Utah or...
So you went to Chicago to go to school. What?
Yeah,
What?
went to Ordnance Automotive School.
Okay.
Yeah, stayed 3 months there.
Stayed 3 months there, and Polly came up and stayed the 3 months with you.
And I graduated and got a diploma from it.
Well, good.
And worked on the car since.
So you went from Chicago to where? Where was your next stop?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
What did you do there?
Overseas, no.
Yeah, 'cause you went to
Nebraska,
college.
didn't we? The replacement depot.
Okay.
And they sent me back to Harvard, Nebraska, to Air Force Base, B-29
Okay.
as a bomber,
Mhm.
big bomber. And I went back there, and I went to the automotive shop to work. And I had a mechanics diploma. They said, well, I need a man in the parts room. And I got one boy in there, but we got so many trucks that it takes 2 men to run it. And I said, well, I'd like that. So he put me in there.
And he was stationed
Stayed
there a year.
to the day.
And I went and stayed the year with him.
You went and stayed in Harvard with him.
And that's another wild trip. I got on a train and got to Kansas City, and as we was pulling in, at my train to Lincoln was pulling out. Well, you missed it. Well, I knew laying in that old depot all night long, that was going to kill me. So I went up to the ticket office and I said, "Is there a train going anywhere that'll take me later to Lincoln, Nebraska?" He said, "Yes, there's one leaving in 30 minutes. You'll go up to Omaha, and then you'll out back to Lincoln, and you'll pick up your train in Lincoln to Harvard, Nebraska." He said, "But it'll cost you." I said, "Give me the ticket. I want it." And so I could sleep on the train.
Sure.
But in those old depots, all those soldiers and wives and crying babies and old wooden benches. Oh,
So you went up to see him. You went up to stay with him in Harvard, and then where'd you go from Harvard? What was your next duty?
Went back to Salt Lake City, Utah
Okay.
for overseas training.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went from there to ship to North Africa.
no, Italy.
Yeah, Italy first. A replacement place.
You went to Italy. What? You remember where in Italy?
Naples, Italy.
Naples, Italy. All right.
Yeah. So I stayed there a month, and then I caught a plane, went back to Casablanca, Africa. That was 1,500 miles across the Mediterranean,
Mm-hmm. And that's where you were during the war?
18 months.
18 months in Casablanca.
Right.
Now from Harvard, you came back home?
Came back home, stayed till he
Your
came
mama.
home.
Okay. Now there's
And in the meantime, Mom and them left the ranch and bought the house in Temple. And J.D. and Dennis, well, J.D. came home before we left the ranch. He was a prisoner for 10 months. And then after we bought the house in Temple, well, he and Dennis and me stayed there with Mom and Daddy. And then Papa, Mama's daddy.
So there's a story about Casablanca, and you couldn't tell Polly where you were.
Yeah, I'd ride her. and
Couldn't tell me where he's
everything
going.
Censored, all your mail was censored.
Mhm.
And I told her I went to see a movie, and it was Humphrey Bogart. He had a show back in those days in Casablanca. The name of the show was Casablanca. She couldn't figure that out. And she was country.
So you thought you were fooling the government and telling your wife where you were. She had no clue.
But they just barked it all out.
Yeah, they censored it all. They cut it out.
They cut it out.
So you had no idea where man was.
No,
Not for a long time.
You didn't know if he was in a aggressive area or sitting on a beach somewhere.
no, you couldn't tell them too much.
Yeah.
Everything was censored.
You know, that's another thing I can't understand of today. Up here at Fort Hood, they tell when they're going to ship out and fly over to Bosnia, or when they're going here and where they're going there, and in what time, and what day, and what kind of a plane. There's nothing secret anymore. And
Yeah,
yet
but
we have
this
so many
radio-
terrorists now.
Real wartime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but now it's just as dangerous as wartime because
Sure.
we've got too many nuts now, like these planes going down and all. That was
Sure.
another thing. While man was there at Casablanca, how many planes was leaving out? How often?
Every 3
Every
minutes.
3 minutes. That was when they were coming home. These planes carrying the soldiers.
Well, that's after I was there.
Yeah, he was declared surplus 6 months before you got to come home.
The war ended,
Okay.
in Germany.
Yes, sir.
And they were shipping a bunch of troops home. And I was at this air base where every 3 minutes we serviced a plane that was coming to the States, bringing troops home.
Really? Service,
Out of Germany.
refuel,
Yeah,
just got it ready for flight again.
yeah.
And man said they never lost a plane.
Really?
And all of those
Not one.
thousands of planes with all those thousands of troops.
And today, there'll be a minute 3 you fall today somewhere in the ocean.
So you,
You know why? They're not serviced.
Yeah.
They're not serviced.
But I tell you, those boys serviced those planes. Or the captain or whoever the pilot was, he wouldn't fly it till everything was okay.
Really? So when you were in Casablanca 18 months,
Yeah.
and you came home when?
In March of '46.
March of '46.
Yeah.
Came back to Bell County. and
Went back, no, to keep from going to Wichita Falls, you went with the Lone Star Gas Company.
No, with United,
Oh, yeah.
Palestine, Texas.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
okay. So when you came back from the war, you went with United Gas,
Yeah.
and
They held a job for me, but they transferred me
okay.
to Palestine, Texas. Yeah.
So how was that just your central office, and then you had a territory you were working
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All of East Texas.
all of East Texas?
And then you was there in Palestine, what? Did you live in Palestine a year or so?
About a year. And then
And
it shipped me to Louisiana.
Yeah. And then that was just a...
Louisiana, now let me tell this one. I'm the one that steered this deal. Went to Louisiana. That was right after the war. And you couldn't get a place to live anywhere. But as it would have it, the company paid my expenses till I found a place to live.
Okay.
And she went with me. In Bastrop, Louisiana. But in my job, it was out in the swampland and the river bottom. Big river went through there. And all of my meters were on 30 and 40 foot towers because that river would overflow.
Okay.
And they had to put the meters up to keep them dry, you know,
Mhm.
to register the gas usage out in the oil field. And issued me a car and a horse and a motorboat. That's how I made my job, ever. Whatever the weather was, I took my pick.
And I was sitting up in this blame hotel all day long by myself with 2 paper mills in the town. That was what they used to dissolve paper, is an acid that'll eat the paint off of your cars, and it just get in your nose all when you go out of that hotel. And I told man, I said, I'm not going to live long.
But anyway, I didn't like that setup. But that is kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
You tie your horse out where it's dry, and take that motorboat. Oh yeah, I had a trailer. Could have had to pull the horse in it, you know. And
So wait a minute. When you went to work, you had a car
Yeah.
and a
and if it wasn't flooding everywhere, well, I'd go in the car,
take the car.
take all my stuff
Yes,
to test
yes.
these meters.
Okay.
He was a meter inspector.
And if it was raining and high water, well, take the car and pull the horse in the trailer. and if it was so high, then I'd have to turn around, come back, take the horse loose and get the boat. You know, I had a boat trailer.
But anyway,
behind the car.
you had a variety of vehicles.
And you ride to your meters out in the water, and then the 30 or 40 foot towers, you drive up to your boat and tie it to the tower and get up there and test your meter.
Yeah, that was...
So that lasted a year.
Not that long.
Not even that long.
Oh, no. We didn't
wait
stay there
just a minute now. I'm telling this one. So, I said, we're living in a hotel, 1 room, doing
Eating
all
out.
that. And how long did we stay there?
I don't know, how long? Month or 2.
I think about a couple of months.
Okay.
And I called up the boss in Dallas and told him I'd like to have my job back. He said, no, you've already moved. He said, won't let you, don't have any place for you. You just have to stay there. I said, well, I'm not staying. I'm going back to Temple, Texas.
Temple and went to work for Lone Star Gas and was in Temple a year, and they shipped him back to Wichita Falls where we'd lived before he went in the Army, and went back up there for 3 more years. Well, to get out of that town, that was a disaster. We bought out the store at Bell Falls from his sister.
Well, now you getting ahead of yourself.
Well, that's the way it was.
So your sister owned a store
Yeah,
out in Bell Falls, and you ended out.
I bought it.
You bought
They
it.
wanted to sell out and go back to Albuquerque where they were from, and so man said, well, to get out of this mess, let's buy them out, and that's what we done.
Grocery store.
Yeah,
Big grocery store.
And how long did y'all run that?
about
3 years
And then
till man got sick. Because we had about 1,000, 1,500 hands, niggers and Mexicans. That was a cotton country, and they come in there, pick cotton, you know, and everything. And we sold gasoline, kerosene, and all kinds of feed and groceries, and we couldn't get any help, and working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and so he got sick, and we had to sell out, and we moved back to Temple, stayed there a year, I think. He didn't work, and then he got on that rocket down at McGregor, and worked there 23 and a half years before he retired.
you enjoyed that.
yeah, yeah, it was a nice deal.
It was.
Yeah.
When did y'all build the house that we're in here? When did y'all build this house?
64,
4.
about 64.
Okay.
64, yeah. And I went back and forth from here.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. We lived in McGregor 12 years.
10, I thought.
Yeah, we lived in our house 12, and we was there 2 years before we built the house. 12 years, and then we moved down here. Because I was having a heart problem, and we wanted to be closer to Mom and them and Scott and White. And so we said, well, we'd move down here, buy a lot out in the country, and been here 36 years.
So there we are.
Living happy ever after.
I'll say.
You can just imagine all this
But
stuff.
I had a good life.
Yeah,
I
we enjoyed it.
really enjoyed it. She didn't like it, but I did.
You had
I
fun.
didn't like being over in Africa, you know. That wasn't very funny.
Well, we lived apart a
But
lot.
I wasn't in no combat or nothing.
So that was all right.
Yeah.
You know, whenever he was gone, when we lived in Wichita Falls, he worked Hollis, Oklahoma, and Seymour, Vernon, and Bowie, and just everywhere, and was gone a week at a time. And I lived alone so much. And of course, then I didn't paint, I didn't do anything. I did sew a little bit for a friend.
Sometimes I'd
but-
take her with me.
Now I can look back. I should have gotten into something. Oh, I clerked a little bit every once in a while in a ready-to-wear shop or something there at Wichita Falls. But I had just, I guess, made up my mind that I didn't like it, so I just didn't entertain myself much. I was miserable.
She slept.
I slept a lot, and like I said, I'd jump in the car, and that's 250 miles, and I'd come home and stay down here a while, and then go back. And then I had to have emergency appendectomy when we were there, and oh, Lord. We lived in chicken houses and everything else up there. You couldn't get any place to live, and one little chicken house on an alley, a lot of blacks would go up down the alley. I'd had this appendectomy, and I was still in bed, and he was fixing to leave and be gone a week, and he come back to the house after we went down to the office, and I was crying, and I said, I can't stay in this by myself. So he said, well, what do you want me to do? Take you to Temple? And I said, well, you've got to do something. So he went back to the office and told him, said, well, I've got to take my wife to Temple. So they said, okay. So he took the day off and brought me to Temple, and I stayed down here a week or so until I
come
got a
back
little
with
stronger.
I had to go.
Oh, mercy. See, I was always a mama's baby. I just, I never was
Tell
real
that
happy
she
away
couldn't
from
even get
mama.
from Temple to Chicago. But one little deal you didn't tell about in Chicago. When I started overseas, I had what they call a delayed route. 6 days. So we come to Templeton, stayed that 6 days. But we caught the train out of Chicago, and we got down there, and I went and got
Well, you had a Pullman ticket, but I didn't.
my tickets and stuff. And the train, they said, you better get on the ball, boy. Your train is pulling out right now. We run, and I had 2 bags back with all my clothes. And
Why not run him?
and caught it and got on it. There I was with them 2 bags trudging along, you know. And that train was getting faster all the time. But I just got with the program and caught it. I caught it and threw the barracks bag in the door, you know. So we come on to Temple.
And got on this train, and although he had a Pullman ticket, he didn't take it. He said, no, I'm not taking the Pullman with my wife in a chair car. Well, when we got on there was no chairs. So they had these leather things between the train coaches, and there were soldiers laying on the floor and everything. And we had to ride for miles and miles just between the 2 coaches. And I sat on man's barracks bag, and man stood up until one time after we'd been on there for hours, he told a red cap, he said, if you'll get me a chair car, I'll give you, I don't know whether it's $5 or $10.
$5, that's a lot of money.
And he went off and came back and had put us on a chair car, on one of the best air-conditioned chair cars on that train. It was a racket. Those red caps, those guys that was turning in that they didn't have chairs and things, and they were making money. See, people would pay $5 or $10 to get a chair car. And of course, we got on the train and slept till we got to Kansas City. I believe is when we had to change trains. But when we got on there, didn't even have a seat. And these soldiers and their wives, soldiers laying in the aisles. And then one time we was going back to Harvard, Nebraska, and it was a troop train, and they wasn't going to let me and another girl on because it was a troop train. And man said, well, I'm not leaving my wife here, and I'll be AWOL in the morning because I won't be there. And so they finally said, well, they would let me and her on there, but we would have to ride in the restroom lounge. And we rode in the restroom lounge till we got to Harvard.
So y'all had some fun in your life.
Because all these soldiers laying on the floor, there was no, no seats, no nothing.
One little deal up at Harvard, Nebraska. She come up there to visit me. We stayed there a year, you know. And that train had to be 29. And we got a place in Harvard, Nebraska, out from the base, 5 miles. So she got a room there, and I was staying with her at night, you know.
Sharing the kitchen with 20 women.
And I come out to the gate to come home that afternoon, 4:30, 5 o'clock. And there's a big 18-wheeler truck pulled up, and the driver got out, and over the door, a bunch of soldiers standing there, you know. And he opened the back doors, had them 2 metal doors he opened, and said, all of you want to ride, get in. So we just hopped that big old 18-wheeler in the back end. He shut the doors and latched it outside. Took off. Well, when we got to Harvard, which was 5 miles away, that's where I wanted off. But he just kept going. I felt an old truck went across that railroad track. Had several rail lines there, you know, and that old truck just bumping. It's dark as pitch in it, no light or nothing. Because he shut the doors, it all metal, you know, bucket full of soap.
Oh man, he's where he's going.
Went to Hastings, Nebraska. I said, well,
22
I'll take
miles.
a wild ride now. But I wanted off in Harvard, and he didn't give me a chance to tell him where I wanted off. I thought he'd just go into Harvard. But he went on to Hastings. Me and I didn't say a word to nobody, didn't tell him. When he come back and unlatched the door and let us all bail out, you know. When I was riding across the street from the bus station, I just got out of the bunch of soldiers and just walked straight over to that bus station. And it was 35 miles to
22, I think.
22 miles.
Yeah.
And I called a bus back where
To Harvard.
she said, "What are you doing so late?" I said, "Well, I had a wild ride."
Yeah, all these times when we was living in Palestine, I shared the kitchen with 3 women, and up there in Nebraska, there were 22 couples lived in this big old 3-story rooming house, and I mean, we had 1 bath. Well, in Wichita Falls, a year and a half, we roomed and boarded. They had a bathroom on the bottom floor and a bathroom upstairs. And when I went up there in August, we couldn't even get a room together. And so I stayed downstairs with another girl from Oklahoma, and she was going to business college. And when she finished college, she went back to Oklahoma. So man moved downstairs with me. He was upstairs with 3 other boys. We done that for 6 months. And roomed and boarded. Well, of course, he was gone. He got up early of a morning. Did you eat breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ate breakfast. See, we was eating 3 meals a day, rooming and boarding. And he'd eat breakfast and leave. Well, he wouldn't wake me up. And I wouldn't get up till about 11 o'clock. Well, I had to get up to let the maid come in and clean up. I finally went to Miss Estes. I said, "I don't like to get up early, so can I keep my own room?" She said, "Oh, yeah." So I washed my curtains and mopped the floor and everything. We all had a lavatory in our bathroom, that's all. And so I'd sleep until 10, 11 o'clock and get up and bathe and dress and go in and eat and then go downtown or go back to bed or whatever. And anyway, well, like I said, we had so much stuff going. you didn't have time to worry about anything much. And young, when you're young, you can do a lot of stuff. We couldn't do it now. We can't even sleep together. We can't even have the same bathroom or nothing. And there we was sharing it with 20 other people. But we never had any conflicts because everybody was agreeable.
Mhm.
You didn't have all this, well, it's just different than it is now, I'll tell you. But, we had a good time. Especially.
Shows on television about
No, they're too young for that.
We saw the reruns.
Oh, did you?
This is your life.
And they bring out all the different people from your past, and,
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be able to make that type of show. So y'all been married how many years now?
64. This year in December be 60.
This coming December will be 65.
This year.
And it's been a fun trip.
Yeah.
Good.
And he's 86 and I'm 83.
And you're still kicking.
And I'm
Not
still
very high.
I'm still teaching art and sewing for the public and the painting for the public and just drive the car 70 and 80 miles an hour and all this traffic and everything. So you see, everything I've done, I guess, made me still real active.
Made you better.
Maybe a little over.
Well, we sure do. We sure do appreciate our time together, and thank you much for spending the afternoon with
Pretty
us.
long story though.
It was just what I wanted.
Well, after 83 and 86 years,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay, we're in Westphalia, Texas, with Adolph and Anna Smetana. These are Ron's parents, and we just want to spend some time with y'all. So we'll start with Adolph. Just where were you born, and what were your parents'
Well,
names?
I was born across over in Germany, but I don't know. I was a small kid when I come over here. I was just 3 years old.
Okay.
And that was in 1907, I guess,
How did you come over?
on the boat.
On a boat.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long it took?
Well, I believe about 3 weeks.
Really? And you came over with your parents and
Yeah.
the rest of your brothers and sisters?
Well,
Well, there were just
name them.
5 of them. Annie and Olga and Joe and John and me.
Okay. And were you the baby?
Well, no, I ain't the baby,
Okay.
but the rest of them was born here, you know.
Oh,
We settled down
In
here.
Lebanon.
We landed at Galveston
okay.
with the boat.
Mhm.
Then we got on a train and went to Cameron.
Okay.
That ain't just too far from here.
Right.
And we had to find us a place to stay because we were strangers. You just come from a country over there that didn't know nobody over here, you know.
Sure.
And that's about all I know about it. And after a while, when I went to school in, well, the first place I went to school was here in West Virginia.
It was. Right here with the church?
Yeah.
Westphalia school.
Sister, or the sister school.
Nuns we had then, sisters.
So, what were your parents? What were your mom and dad's name?
Well, my mama was Anna, and my dad was John.
Smetana's got to put that.
Okay.
Johann.
And y'all came over in 1907.
No, in 1910.
Oh, in 1910.
I was 3 years old
Okay.
on the boat. The reason I don't remember nothing.
Okay. And you settled here in Westphalia?
No, we settled in down below Cameron at Pettibone.
Okay.
Then y'all settled in Westphalia later. All
Then
that.
worked there for a while on half, I believe. We're half renters, you know.
What?
Then after a while we moved to Rosebud.
Moved out to Rosebud.
Yeah.
So your father was a farmer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then from Rosebud were.
What did y'all grow?
Huh?
What did y'all harvest? What did y'all grow?
Cotton and corn and
Maize.
them days didn't even raise much.
Then you moved to the other side of Westphalia too. Did you tell them that? They can't hear me, can they?
Yeah. So, how many brothers and sisters were born over here?
And I'd have to count on my fingers. It'd be Hattie and Irene and Leona and Lucy and Albert and Sean.
How many? 12?
Yeah, they were 12 kids. One of them
12
died.
kids.
One or two of them died.
Wow. And so you went to school here with the church?
Yeah. Well, some of them went down there. Like Annie and Olga, they went to school where we lived there on a creek there, probably a flat,
Yeah.
they called it. Just an old country schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Then after a while what was the other one named?
Vincent?
Winston School too.
Little old schools everywhere.
Just country schools?
Just
Okay.
country schools.
So, okay, Anna, where were you born?
I was born in Westphalia.
You were born in Westphalia. And were you the youngest or oldest or middle?
I'm the middle. I got 3 ahead of me and 3 of Margaret. Let's see, who is it? Buddy, Johnny, Margaret, and then me, I guess. Then Catherine and Madeline, and Dorothy.
Okay. And your parents' names?
My mother was Rose Ann Meese Kaiser.
Okay. And Dad?
Dad was Henry J. Kaiser.
Okay. And were they from Germany?
No, my mother was from Illinois, and
Oh,
my
really?
dad was from Germany.
Okay.
My mother and from Illinois, they moved to Houston, and when they got there, they had a bunch of kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When they got there, they had that awful storm in California. It blowed everything away, you know, and my mother's one brother, Henry, I believe it was Henry,
They were in Galveston.
Galveston, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
my mistake.
at Galvez, and they had a big storm, and he was trying to help, and he got blew away and up in a tree, and they found him dead up in the tree.
Really?
That was my mother's brother.
And so your family moved to Westphalia, or you were born in Westphalia?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the nieces moved to Westphalia. Mama was a niece, you know.
Uh-huh.
They moved to Westphalia, and my dad, he was from Durham, but they lived in Westphalia too after a while.
Okay.
And then I don't know when Mom and I had it. I got it when and we got married. Yeah, we got married. 1936.
So did you go to school here also?
Yeah.
Is that-
I went to school all the while. All of my brothers and sisters did.
Is that where you met Adolf, here at school?
No.
How did?
This one, should we just let it go? Just let it
Well, either way. You want to get it real quick?
go.
Go ahead.
I'm coming up. Hope it ain't our lead.
Okay, so we're talking about where you and Adolf met
yeah.
and how you guys met.
Well, we just lived in an old country house over there, and I don't really know how we met. We just had dates. How did we meet?
Huh?
How did we meet?
Well, in the house dance.
Oh yeah, we had house dances,
Parties.
you know, old houses, and we'd have parties, and we'd dance, and man, he'd dance and hold me so tight you couldn't hardly dance, and we just, you know, a couple of times like that, and he'd come over in the mud, you know, and come and pick me up, and it wasn't too long. We just decided we was going to get married.
Really?
We just left out and got married.
Now you're younger than Adolf.
Yeah.
By how many years?
I'm 83 and he's 92.
Okay.
He's gonna be 93.
So he's 9 years
Yeah,
9 years older than you. So when do you remember how old you were when
19.
you were 19 when you got married? Okay, and so Adolf would have been 28.
Something. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, was he handsome?
I guess so. Didn't know him much. And I didn't know how old he was or anything. We
Oh, really?
just dated. And I don't know. I was working up at my Odile Hulcher. Was my friend always. You know, her mother. And I helped her mother. And I don't know. What was it? We was at mass that night, that evening. And we come home and I don't know. Did we have a date? And we just said let's get married. Or he did, or I did. I don't know. We went to Waco.
So you got married in Waco.
Yeah, but we come back, then we had to marry over in the church, and then the priest, we had Father Schertz, he was kind of a real good German priest, you know, and he wouldn't marry us for a week or so, wasn't it? We had to suffer a while.
So did you have to ask Anna's parents if you could get married, or
No.
No?
Either parents, they didn't know it till we come back.
they didn't know? It was a surprise.
It was for my mother. She had fit, but that was okay. And he was just a little farmer, so we just worked hard, you know, to get our life up together. We just always had enough to get by with, you know. We had chickens, we had cattle and hogs and everything, and we'd sell eggs and we'd buy our food for that at that time.
What year did you get married in?
36.
In 1936, you got married.
You
Okay.
see, it was March the 10th, I believe, 1936.
Okay. And did you settle here?
Well, I farmed a little farm over here about
Yeah.
3 miles from here. On the Ordner farm up
Yeah.
there. And I had a little F12 farm tractor
Okay.
to farm with. And then I worked at Langer's Land, and then from there on we moved to Fritz Rice place down there on the creek.
Yeah,
We just moved around where we could get, you know.
Right. You just lived in little farmhouses, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of them. Then we bought that, you know, in Barclay after a while, you know.
Okay. When did you move to Barclay?
56, isn't it? No, was it earlier than that?
Ron was about 5 years old, I guess.
When you moved to Barclay?
I thought it was 58. Was it? Oh, 56, and we moved, I guess, to the other house in 58. It was in the 50s. You don't remember, huh?
Yeah, my tractor, I bought that Alice Chalmers tractor and it is brand new and it was in 52. That's the first place we farmed in
Don't
Buckley.
get it. Dang, phone don't ring all week. I'm trying.
Okay, so you have.
Let me see, what was we?
We're talking about like living in Barkley, but when were the boys born? Your oldest son is Bill,
Uh-huh.
and he was born when?
What year?
Yes.
Let's see. Don't, I shouldn't say it. I mean, I have to think. One of them, one was, let me see.
37,
I
man.
read he was in 30, born in 37 and Bill in 40, and Ron in 47.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're 10
See,
years.
well, I had another baby between that, you know.